Jason, and today's podcast is a bit of a follow-up to the last podcast. I'm going to talk about work again today. And the reason I'm going to talk about work again today is because over the last couple of weeks, it seems as though I'm talking to more and more people about their work schedules and how much time they're spending working, and the critical and such important need and big need for them to get out and exercise and to be active and to do things that they enjoy, not just spend all their time working. In today's society, we spend a tremendous amount of time working. Back in 1966, this anthropologist, Marshall Sahlins, he decided that he was going to study some of the hunter-gatherer groups that still exist in the world today. And he found that they spend much less time actually working than we do in our modern society. In fact, if we define work as the amount of time or the activities that we engage in to supply our typical needs, such as food and shelter and those kinds of things, what he found is that hunter-gatherers, for the entire week, for a 7-day week, they only spend about 20 hours working. Now, compare that to some recent statistics for us in the modern society, where we spend about 8.9 to 9 hours a day working. Now, of course, that's a work day, and arguably we don't work on Saturday and Sunday, so that still leaves us with somewhere between 40 and 45 hours a week that we spend working, as compared to the hunter-gatherer groups that only spend about 20 hours. In his paper, he called it the original Affluent Society. Sailin wrote this, and I thought it was very telling. He said, "To accept that hunters are affluent is therefore to recognize that the present human condition of man, slaving to bridge the gap between his unlimited wants and his insufficient means, is a tragedy of modern times." Now, I think that what Sailin was almost directly saying in that quote is that we slave away, we work and work and work to satiate the insatiable. We always want more. We see things that we want, and so we decide, well, we'll just work a little bit more, and when we work a little bit more, we'll be able to get it. And of course, as soon as we get that, we immediately find something else that we want, and so we slave away and work it for that. And we end up in this cycle where we continue to add more on our plate as it relates to work, so that we can try to put some other things on our plate of what we want. And the unfortunate reality is that our plate is only so big. There's only so much that we can fit on our plate. And so the more work you put on your plate, the less space there is for the activities and the fun things that you would prefer to be doing, and that you probably are wanting those other things, those purchases perhaps that you want to make. You have far less time to enjoy those things. There's only 168 hours in a week. So 7 days a week, 24 hours a day, that's 168 hours. Now, that time disappears very quickly. Take, for example, on a typical work day. If you go to bed at 10 o'clock at night, and your plan is to get up at 6 o'clock in the morning so you get your 8 hours of sleep, you probably spend a little bit of time in the morning getting ready and getting prepared, and then you go to work by 8, and say you work until 5. That leaves 5 hours in the evening. That means from 10 o'clock at night until 5 o'clock the next day, you're sleeping or working. That leaves 5 hours for you to do everything else that you need to do. Cook dinner, prepare dinner, cook dinner, take care of children, take care of yourself, shower, all of your hygiene things, hopefully relax a little bit, and then go to bed to do it all again the next day. This time disappears incredibly fast, and as soon as you start adding some other things, like your kid playing soccer, and so now he has soccer practice, well, that 5 hours that you have left in the evening, there goes an hour and a half to 2 hours, depending on drive time. If you have one child who plays soccer and another who does gymnastics, there goes more time. And so very quickly, our time completely disappears, and we are left with very minimal and precious time to do anything else with. And so what I wanted to talk about in today's podcast is about the need to find some time to play. Play is so important. Play rejuvenates us. It gives us energy. It makes us feel good. It gives us something to look forward to. One of the things I often tell people that I work with is that when you have something that you're looking forward to, something that you've planned, something that you're anticipating, it makes the work and the maybe not so pleasant things, it makes it go by faster. And not that we want our life to speed by and to go by as quickly as possible, but we certainly would like to minimize some of those less enjoyable times as much as possible. So if you're planning something for the weekend, for example, we all know that as soon as you have that scheduled, as soon as you have something planned for the weekend or a vacation coming up or something, the rest of the time that happens before that vacation, before that time off, it just flies by, and you're so productive. You get so much done because you know that this is the deadline, this is the time that I'm going to be leaving, and so I have to have everything done by then. And we get through that time usually much faster emotionally. It just feels like the time's gone by so fast. Of course, time doesn't change in speed, but it certainly feels less imposing, less serious, less challenging for us to manage when we have that anticipation, that thing that we're looking forward to. Now, it doesn't have to be a huge vacation. It doesn't have to be a big trip or anything like that. Take, for example, for myself, I'm recording this podcast on a Wednesday afternoon. Tomorrow night, on a Thursday night, I'm going to be going to see, and actually the night that this podcast will be published, I'm going to be going out with my family to see the new movie Tarzan. Now, I'm really looking forward to it. I bought my tickets for Tarzan about a week ago. I have been looking forward to this movie for a long time. Ever since I saw the first trailer, I've been really excited about it. I've always been a fan of Tarzan. And so even though it's not a big trip to anywhere, it's just a couple of hours on a Thursday evening. But because I'm looking forward to that, it's making this work week much easier to manage. It's making this work week something that I know that I'm going to get through because, man, there's something that I'm really looking forward to on the other side, because that is a little bit of play to me. That's a little bit of fun to me. That's a little bit of time that's just pure enjoyment. So I encourage you, take some time to identify 30 minutes, an hour, a couple of hours, maybe some time on the weekend that you can dedicate just to relaxing and having some fun. Whatever the play is, enjoy it. Take your time to do that. Again, for some of us, that time can be when your kid is at soccer practice. I coach my son's soccer team, and so I get out on the field. And actually, this was last night. I was out on the soccer field, running around with the boys, kicking the ball and participating in the scrimmage. That was fun, and it releases so much energy, and it just lets you take some of that weight and frustration of real life, of modern life, and it allows you to spend it and get rid of it in an enjoyable, healthy, fun way. That's one of the purposes of exercise. I have talked about in many podcasts before the importance of just exercising, just walking for 30 minutes every couple of days or so. If you can do it every day, that's even better. But just taking that time to expend some energy, no demands, no expectations, no timing, nothing like that. Just get out, enjoy yourself, and spend that time just being. We try to dedicate every minute of our day to something productive, to something that has a deadline, to something that we have to accomplish. But sometimes we just need to be. Sometimes we just need to live. Sometimes we just need to breathe, walk, and look around. That old saying of stop and smell the roses. There's a lot of importance to that, because we do need to take that time just to be. Okay? So think about that. Try to find some time to do that. Find a little bit of time, even if it's just 15 or 20 minutes a day. You got 5 hours, especially during the week. If you can find 15 minutes, 20 minutes just to be, you'll find that'll make all the difference. That'll make a huge difference in your life. All right. Till next time, Dr. Berney. Forget to be afraid.